Here's the thing about stakeout stories. I sometimes think of the funniest stories. And then other times, I can't remember them. I think I'm just going to have to breeze through the rest of my time at the regular Kmart because working there was not very much fun. My boss got laid off and they brought in another boss, and that's the one that grounded me to my store and wouldn't let me leave, and she hated my face off. She ended up filing a sexual harassment lawsuit against her boss, and then her boss filed a sexual harassment lawsuit back against her. Like, Kmart, I mean, y'all need to go home. Y'all are drunk. But one case I do remember is this woman, and she was middle-aged, and she was working as a cashier, and she had, I got to noticing one day that she had a really long line of customers, and all these other registers were open, and everybody was staying in her line. Okay, like, if y'all are going to steal, y'all have got to get better at it than this. So, of course, I go back to the room, and I look at the camera and zoom down to see what's going on, and sure enough, she's under-ringing people. So she's ringing things up for people. She'll ring up, like, one roll of, I remember this lady specifically had rolls of wallpaper. Like, what's the wallpaper that goes, like, at the top of the wall, like the border wallpaper? That's what this woman was stealing. So she would ring that up, and then she would pretend to ring everything else up, and then she would total the transaction, only charging her for her border wallpaper. And it just so happens that my boss and my coworker Tiffany were there from other stores. And we apprehended not only the cashier, but also the woman that was stealing the border wallpaper. I don't know what it's called. And we got them both back in 2 different offices so we could interview them. I remember when I was going to get the cashier. Oh, God, somebody's approaching. It's okay, I'm okay, it's okay. So I was going to get the cashier, and when I apprehended her, it wasn't like real apprehension. I just went up there and said, hey, can you come back to the back with me? Everybody that was in her line just like poof, like scattered everywhere. There was carts of stuff flying everywhere. Everybody's buying like the most ridiculous things, like paint and rugs and bath mats. And they just started scattering, leaving their carts everywhere and running out the store. Man, if I had sat on that a little bit longer, I probably could have apprehended all of those people. I'm sure that there was a lot more stories about regular Kmart because we did do a lot of crazy stuff. I just can't remember any of it, y'all. But the next part is when the stuff really starts happening. My boss, remember the one that got fired before they brought in the sexual harassment lady? He went to work at the Sports Authority, and he called me and Tiffany and brought us over to the Sports Authority, where me and Tiffany each got our own store. And from there, things got wild. And I became known as the store manager slayer. And I don't know if that's a title that I really wanted. It just happened. It's not my fault. That's it for Stakeout Stories. But y'all tune in next time to find out what happened. And then when I went to put in my 2 weeks, they asked me why I was leaving. And I was like, it's the Titanic, y'all. I mean, you're going to get on a lifeboat or go down with this thing. And I was right. But then they accepted my notice on the spot and sent me home immediately.